Welcome to Oddball. I'm Charlotte Wilder. That's Amin Al-Hassan. Amin, we've got a packed show today. I'm very excited because we had our first knockout games of the Emirates NBA Cup last night. How did you feel about the overall vibe?
It felt special. It felt exclusive, right? There were no other games on at that night. Only 2 games on. Obviously, those games were back-to-back, so each game had the spotlight to themselves on national TV. It's awesome. This is what I love. It's not quite playoffs, but definitely there's an element of, hey, these are the teams that are playing. There's some teams playing tomorrow, and everybody else, you're just sitting on your couch watching like the rest of us.
Totally. I forgot there weren't other games. I was on my phone being like, who else is playing? And then it was like, oh no, this is the thing. This is what we're all doing. It was very cool. So let's start in the West. Let's start with Thunder Mavs. OKC won 118-104. And it seemed to me like anytime the Mavs would make a run, the Thunder would respond. You know, anytime Luka was out there, it was like, okay, well, Lu Dort's coming back into the game. SGA was absolutely incredible. He had 39 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 threes, 3 steals. He outscored Luka and Kyrie on his own. They had 33 combined, and he gave credit to his teammates. He said, hell of a job by Lou and Queso, who's Case and Wallace. It's more impressive to hold them to that low than it is for me to score 39. So my question to you, Amin, is that true? Let's do a mini lie detector.
Oh, I'm going to say lie detector. I'm going to say this is a white lie, a little white lie.
Okay.
Right? Because he's trying to do the right thing in terms of giving his teammates credit for doing an excellent job defensively. The problem is when you talk about guys like Kyrie and Luka Dončić, every once in a while, they're going to have a bad game, right? You do all these things defensively. You got to be in the right place, right time. You got to go to contest. You got to make them uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, they didn't combine for 33 because they got locked up by Lu Dort and Case and Wallace, right? They combined for 33 because they had off nights. Now, contributing factor is how those guys defended, but at some point, it's a make or miss league, and those guys just miss shots. No, this is all about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being spectacular, answering the call at every turn, as you said. And this is like, this is where he's been the last couple of years, Charlotte. Top 5 in MVP voting 2 years ago, number 2 in MVP voting last year. This is who he is.
Even given all of that, I mean, it sort of seems like the Thunder and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are flying under the national coverage radar a bit. They don't have as many televised games as other teams. What do you think is going on there?
I mean, I think when you look at the teams ahead of them, it makes sense who's getting the national TV games. Like the league doesn't deal in like angel investing or like penny stocks or whatever. Their marketing dollars go behind the sure things, and the sure things are the Lakers by themselves, right? LeBron, that's a thing right there. Steph Curry, that's a thing. Kevin Durant, that's a thing. And then Victor Wembanyama, that's a thing. And then everything else is we've got either an excellent team or an MVP. So the Celtics.
What about my Boston Celtics?
Excellent team, won the championship. They're in. And also Boston is a legacy thing, right? Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic, perennial MVP at this point, and also a champ 2 years ago. They're in the group, right? The Sixers, MVP and Joel Embiid, and then also they added another superstar, Paul George. So these are the things. Oklahoma City, we can sit here as basketball nerds and say, oh, they're awesome. They might win it this year. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is MVP worthy. But at the end of the day, the league looks at it like you play in Oklahoma City and you were a second round knockout last year. The world doesn't know you yet. You haven't had your Ed Sullivan moment where you do the Ed Sullivan show like the Beatles, and all of a sudden now they're everywhere. When that happens, then the league starts pouring the money on you and the eyeballs and everything.
Ed Sullivan moment, is that what they used to call going viral?
Yeah, that is what they used to call going viral. Yep.
I like Ed Sullivan moment better. But okay, so the Mavs, as great as the Thunder were, the Mavs were bad. Luka had a terrible night. He's 16 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds. He had 6 turnovers. So is this an effort thing? It's hard because I know Luka's been injured. You know, as you said before, guys play through a bunch of stuff all season. That's not really an excuse if everybody else is doing it too. But what's up with this guy?
Yeah, it's crazy. You say he's been injured, and Tim McMahon on I believe it was on the Hoop Collective podcast, Tim McMahon of ESPN talked about the injury, and he said the wrist is officially the reason on the books why he'd been out, but the real reason was kind of like an opportunity for Luka to work on his conditioning, because that's been an issue again. And so, you can chalk some of that up to that, and that's not an excuse, because to be frank, it's inexcusable for an elite athlete to have poor conditioning. And that's one of the things that Luka still kind of hangs around him, right? Even if you remember Charlotte after the finals, that's what everyone was saying. Like, what does Luka need to do? Well, number one, he needs to get in shape.
Right. And care.
I think he cares.
I think he
cares about getting in shape, though. Like, I think he thinks, I'm fine. Round is a shape.
So something that was interesting to me about this game, I feel like broadcasters kept saying it's a rivalry, and Shai has killed the Mavericks dating back to last season's playoff series, but the Mavs won. And Shai himself said that this elimination game was motivating because of that. He said he thought about it all day. He said they came out the West last year, which means they were the best in the West. That's when you see who you really are, when you play the top of the top. And it sounds like Shai agrees that this is a rivalry. And I was thinking about it, and I guess it depends on how you define rivalry. Like, does it have to be the idea of a somewhat new rivalry in the league is exciting to me, but is that what this is?
Yeah, I mean, I think like all rivalries are contrived, right? They're contrived around certain things. It's like boxing, like, the way in, these guys hate each other, and then the fight's over and the guys are hugging. I'm like, what happened? I thought you guys hated each other. It's the same thing here. So it's contrived. What do we have? We have, again, two really good teams, two of the best teams in the Western Conference. We have two teams that faced each other in the playoffs last year. One eliminated the other, obviously. But also what we have is two cities that are geographically very close to each other. And you see two MVP candidates, two of the very best players in the league, who play kind of the same position. They're on the perimeter. So I think all of these things lead us to like, these are two teams that are going to see each other a lot in their efforts to find success. And that's how rivalries are born.
Yeah. I hope it keeps going. I mean, Shai, I really hope that he has his MVP moment, or they get to a championship, they win a championship, whatever it takes to get more nationally televised games, because watching him is absolutely gorgeous. We do have to talk about the East. The Bucks punched their ticket to Vegas with a 114-109 win over the Magic. And I mean, we have a victory lap to take here.
The hot streak continues. Now we got two, right?
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing. Oh, I don't even know. I don't even know if we won the other one.
I think we hit our actual bet, but we just didn't lose this one.
Because the whole point is this. We had an opportunity to take Bucks plus -9. We had an opportunity to take Bucks -9.
Yes.
And, Orlando's missing Franz Wagner. It's missing Paolo Banchero. And what did I say? I don't trust the Bucks. I trust them to win. I don't trust them to take care of business. And sure enough, they didn't take care of business.
They did not cover, although Giannis led the way for the Bucks with 37 points, 7 rebounds, 4 blocks, 2 steals. He's gone off the past few games. Like, he hasn't scored fewer than 20 points, than 30 points in the last 9 games. It's unbelievable. The Bucks opened with the 5th best title odds at plus 1,400. Right now, they're in 8th and plus 1,800. Is there any, I know we talked about the NBA Cup being a series of tests for them and the Magic, which we'll get to, missing 2 of their best players. So now that they're playing hard teams, they've encountered injuries. And is there any chance that someone could take that bet and it would be a good idea?
Barring a massive personnel move in the middle of the season, I would say no. I just don't see it. To win the NBA championship, not the NBA Cup, but the Larry O'Brien. Man, this team has so many holes in it. And look, on the one hand, I get it. Every great record that you see, I said this about the Celtics last year. Every great record that you see from a regular season is built on the corpses of all the bad teams you play. Right? That's how you win 73 games if you're the Warriors a couple of years ago. That's how you have a net rating of whatever. It's because when it comes to those games where you're supposed to take care of business, you took care of business in a resounding fashion. And then the rest of them, the good teams, the competitive teams, it's more down to earth. Obviously, it could still be excellent as it was with the Warriors in 2016, but it's definitely not the same picture that we see against those bad teams. So, Milwaukee's going to get their season on track, and they have, and they're going to have a significant amount of their wins against bad teams, right? So, as does every good team. But I haven't seen them beat any good team. Not sincerely. And this Orlando team was missing its two best players, and they're terrible offensively by the numbers. So it's like you struggle to beat them. You needed 37 from Giannis, and you need all these Herculean efforts to beat very, very mediocre opposition.
Okay, so my next question: Giannis is third in MVP odds right now, plus 750. How bad do the Nuggets have to be for anybody else to have a shot at MVP this year? Because Jokic seems like he is on a tear again. For Shai, for example, is it because he's on a better team that he'll have a better shot, or is it that Jokic's heroics would be rewarded? I think
the worse the Nuggets get, if the Nuggets drop below 4, I would say, then Jokic would have to it would have to be the most outstanding stat line ever, I think, to win MVP. The voters at the end of the day, they're swayed by narrative. They're swayed by, they might not say it outwardly. They may not even say it inwardly. Maybe it's something subconscious that happens, but they're swayed by these things. If Shai Gilgeous-Alexander continues to have an amazing season as he's having, and the Thunder continue to be, the top of the charts, then I think he has a great chance of winning MVP this year. If the Mavericks make an incredible run and Luka gets his act together, I think he's got a great chance. Maybe Minnesota might be too late now for Anthony Edwards, but you never know. You turn it around. Maybe they make a run. They get up to a top 3 seed. Everyone says, well, it was Anthony Edwards' leadership that got that done. And he's also excellent offensively and excellent defensively. So there's a lot of narratives. I hate that word, but there are a lot of narratives that can get us a different MVP. But if the Nuggets are excellent, and Jokic keeps doing these incredible stat lines on the way to that excellence, then it gets tough. Yeah.
All right. We talked about the Bucks. Let's talk about the Magic. Paolo played like an MVP candidate, Paolo Banchero, in the beginning of the year for the Magic. He tore his oblique. People wrote the team off. Franz Wagner stepped up playing like an MVP, and then he went down with the same injury, which is crazy. Despite this, they were able to play very well against Bucks. Great defense. Jalen Suggs stepped up on offense. He scored 32 points, 18 in the fourth. So does this say more about the Magic without those two stars, or the Bucks with everybody? Because Chris Middleton was back and he didn't score, but he did impact the ball. He had steals. He had 8 assists.
And he's still rounding in the form. Double ankle surgery is not something you just kind of trot out there and I feel great again. I'll tell you what it says a lot about. It tells a lot about Jamal Mosley and the job he's done. Coaching this team. Remember, he inherited a really bad team. He like most first-time coaches, you don't get to inherit these teams that are ready to win right now. You usually get rebuilds. And so he got a rebuild and built around the concept that we're going to be, number one, an excellent defensive team, a tough, hard-nosed defensive team. And they did that. And then they got Paolo Banchero, and it was okay, we've got a guy who offensively can lead us, albeit very limitedly because it's only him. And in the meantime, they've been developing Franz Wagner, and here we are. I think Jamal Mosley deserves a ton of credit for where they are right now.
Definitely. All right, I'm going to put something on the screen, Amin, while our producers are. Can you tell me what we're looking at when we see this picture from the 2019 draft?
I see. Well, I've been in this room down in Barclays. What they have is they have these tables set up, and when guys get drafted, after they take all their pictures with the hats and the ball and all that stuff, they go down to this room, and it's literally the media workroom with some tables up there. And so then they're just like, hey, so-and-so's here. And then everyone just gathers to ask questions and take pictures and stuff. So I don't quite see.
It's Zion Williamson, who was, the future coming of Michael Jordan at the time. Who is about to go number 1 in the draft. And then Georgian, the country, not the state, big man, Goga Bitadze, sitting next to him. Zion is surrounded by a scrum of reporters, and Goga's just looking at him alone. But he's been really solid for the Magic for 2 years now.
Yeah, that's not about to go number one. He's gone number one. He took all his pictures with the hat and stuff, and now he's in that media
I forgot
workroom.
the order they do it in.
But yeah, shout out to Goga.
Shout out to Goga. All right. He's had 20 points and 16 rebounds in the first game after Franz's injury. 12 points, 14 rebounds against the Bucks last night. The Magic, they were in it, folks, and we did not take the bad bet. Next, we're going to talk about Jimmy Butler, and we're going to play Prop a Slot. Welcome back to Oddball. All right, Amin. Shams Charania of ESPN tweeted yesterday, the Heat of Miami are open to listening to offers for Jimmy Butler, and he's believed to prefer a win-now contender in any trade. So how is this different from the news that we heard this summer where it was like, is Jimmy going to stick around? What makes this different?
It's not different. I mean, like the big look, it's the same thing. The Heat are open. The language means a lot. The Heat, if you read the extended Shams article, he talks about the Heat being open to conversations, and Bronny Lee, who's the agent for Jimmy Butler, would be willing to entertain. It's all these kind of like passive language, which is pretty much what we knew back in the summertime. It's an impasse. Jimmy Butler's camp want an extension. He can opt out after this year out of the $51 million remaining on his deal. On the other hand, the Miami Heat do not want to commit long-term big money to a guy who, I mean, he's getting old. He's getting up there. So that's the impasse. Yeah. And so if the Heat can get better, they get a great player, I'm sure they'll do it. But will they get one? Probably not. If Bronny Lee can get an offer for an extension, a certain amount of money that makes sense in a good situation, yeah, they jump at that too, I think, as well. So the big difference in the reporting is that we've named names, right? They've named names, and Shams named the Houston Rockets, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Golden State Warriors among 3 teams that would be interested.
Yes. Okay. So say that this 4 teams, who would this make sense for team-wise and then Jimmy-wise? Does it matter for Jimmy where he goes if he's going to opt out anyway? It seems like a bigger move that the team would make.
Well, the thing about Jimmy's deal is that I don't think he wants to opt out. I think he wants that extension. What he wants is just guaranteed money. So, for instance, people look at it, he's due $51 million next year. People think, he wants to continue at $51 million a year or escalating from there. And to me, I've seen this a lot with players at the end of their careers or in the latter stages of their career. When they have an option for a large amount of money, what they want to do is just guarantee more money, not necessarily guarantee the same average annual salary. I remember years and years ago, Baron Davis opted out of $17 million and $18 million. It was 2 years left on his deal. He opted out of that, $35 million over 2 years, to sign a 5-year, $65 million deal. And a lot of people say, oh my God, it took a pay cut. You're going to have $17 million and $18 million. Now you're getting 13 and 13 and 13. But what they didn't realize is he didn't take a pay cut from, $17.5 million average to $13 million average. He got a pay raise from having $35 million guaranteed to $65 million guaranteed. And I think that's what Jimmy Butler is looking for. In terms of teams, they're trying to get over the top. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at teams that are saying, hey, we're a piece away. Whether it's the Houston Rockets, who feel like they're a young team, but they've been phenomenal this year. It's like, hey, we get us our vet. We don't give up any one of our core. We can go over the top. If it's the Dallas Mavericks, we need one more horse, right? One more guy to give Oklahoma City, our rivals, issues, right? Should see them in the playoffs. Right. If you're Golden State, you're looking at, we need to get Steph Curry and Draymond Green some help, because unlike Houston, they're at the end of their kind of window. And so they need to go balls to the wall, in essence, to go for a championship.
Well, so this is interesting because in another report, Brian Windhorst, also of ESPN, says that the Warriors are targeting Jimmy or LeBron James, which to me, the funny part of this is that Anthony Irwin reported that Bronny James would likely be included in any deal here, which is just like, oh God, what are we doing? But would LeBron ever do this? And would this actually, be amazing to see Steph and LeBron play together? Dude,
that was if you go back to the Olympics. At the end of the Olympics, my takeaway was like, look, I don't care what happens. I don't give a damn. about legacies or anything. I just know these two guys need to play together because that's the most perfect basketball I've ever seen in my life. And so part of me is like, oh my God, it could actually happen. And like, there's an actual interest there. But we've known in the past that there was interest from Golden State towards LeBron James.
Yeah, over the offseason, right?
There was an owner-to-owner discussion between Jeannie Buss and Joe Lacob. And apparently it was shot down immediately, not by the Lakers, but by LeBron. And I think in that regard, nothing has changed. I think he's still very sensitive about how he is perceived within the LA market specifically. And so,
which is how?
As not Kobe. Okay. And there still is like this weird mentality for people in LA where they're actively fighting against LeBron, fighting themselves against rooting for LeBron. Like that contest is still happening between Kobe and LeBron, and not understanding, no, you root for the Lakers. You want the Lakers to continue to be good. Who cares? Like look, I know Laker fans that if I told them, what if LeBron won 6 championships in a row? And they were like, well, they would hate that because then they would lose the moral superiority they have that Kobe is so much better. It's weird.
So
it's a
silly.
weird place. Yeah.
I feel like it's something that people would look back in 10 years and be like, why did I not like it when LeBron James was crazy? Anyway, all right, we got to play Prop a Slot. Amin, Prop a Slot is presented by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. It's a slot machine. It's a slot machine. We get the player, we get the prop, we get blah, blah, blah. And we have 3 times that we can spin this. We can take the first one.
I feel like we play this game like 9 times a week.
I love this game. This is my favorite game. I love the spinny thing.
I like the streak. I like the streak, to be honest with you. Hot streak.
The streak's difficult. Let's see that first spin.
We're spinning.
Spin.
This is how the machine works. Okay, Steph
Curry.
Under on points.
Under. 24.5 points for -120. Okay, so the Warriors are playing the Rockets. The Rockets have allowed the 3rd fewest points to point guards this season. Interesting. Steph didn't play against the Rockets on Thursday, but the Wizards, oh my God, that was a Freudian slip. The Warriors' other 3 guards combined for 4 from 24 from the floor. So yikes. Can Steph? Oh, well, it's the under. I don't like unders.
Yeah, I don't like unders either. It makes it seem like we're hating or whatever. Like we're rooting for his downfall. Oh, you just wanted to
spin again?
I was just gonna.
Yeah, I don't want it.
You don't want it? Okay, so go ahead and spin. While we're spinning, I can tell you that against Houston last season, Steph averaged 28 points a game. So we made the right decision.
Okay, great. Okay, so we've got Trae Young over 11.5 assists at -125. The Hawks are playing the Knicks. I like this. Trae has been a New York villain since 2021. The F Trae Young chants happen at Yankees games, which is a different sport. He had 20 assists against the Lakers last week, and the Hawks offense is obviously at their best when Trae is creating for others, because otherwise they lose to the Wizards or something crazy. What I think we take this. I don't see a world in which he doesn't have over 11.5 assists against the Knicks.
He's leading the NBA in assists this year. He's been spectacular. We know he loves a big moment, right? And playing obviously at Madison Square Garden qualifies as a big moment. And he's
your pick for MVP.
Still going at plus 4,000. Still going at plus 4,000 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Yeah, I say we take it too, but let's just see what else we had there.
Well, we have to take it. We're taking it.
Yeah, we took that one. But I just want to.
Okay,
I'm
great.
just.
Yeah, let's see
what else we had. Brunson 27.5. I think that one might
he's my pick for MVP. These are our MVP picks for the NBA Cup going up against each other.
Yeah.
You could get this for -125. I don't know.
I think that's a good bet too. It's probably a better bet because Brunson doesn't need to rely on anyone else to hit his number.
Damn it.
Like he just goes out there and scores, whereas Trae Young has to, like guys have to make shots. Even if Trae Young is going to be
I also want the record to show. Yeah, he'll be a villain. I want the record to show that production got it wrong when we flashed my bracket the other day. It said I had the Bucks. I actually had the Knicks, and I had Jalen Brunson as the MVP. So I really need the Knicks to win because I would like to be right.
Did I have Hawks? I know I had it as far as
You have
betting.
Hawks.
I have Hawks winning it all, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then we're good. We're good. And
Head to
Michael
head.
Jordan is excellent.
All right,
He's actually
folks.
the greatest
Okay.
of all time.
That's it for Oddball.